Output devices. Output devices are another type of hardware. As I said earlier, our entire PowerPoint that we're creating is going to be about hardware. Input devices are the first part of hardware. If you can't put information into a device, you can't get anything out of it. So input devices are what we use to put information in. Well, output devices are how we get that information back out of the computer. So an output device is a component, a hardware component, that allows the information to come out of the computer back at us. This output can usually either be seen or heard. Output devices include speakers, headphones, monitors, printers, plotters, and speech synthesizers. Also, projectors. That one's not listed here, but it is one that allows us to see something from our computer. Speakers you're very familiar with. They're used to hear sound from your computer. Not all of the time is the volume controlled by a knob. Sometimes it's controlled by clicking your mouse screen. Headphones are the little small speakers that are placed over your ear or into the ear, and that are used to hear sound privately from a computer so that you maybe don't disturb others around you. Now, the monitor. Very important you know the difference between the monitor and the rest of the computer. The monitor is just what allows us to see what the computer is putting out. They are not usually one and the same. Mine on my desk is one and the same, but not always. Most of the time that is not the case. Turning on and off the monitor does not turn on and off the computer. Two different things. The monitor is an output device that allows you to display the text and graphics that are generated by your computer system. It's a type of hardware that's an output device. A printer is one of our most common and most used output devices outside of the monitor itself. This is what accepts graphics and text from your computer and transfers that information to paper or other type of medium. There are two standard types of printers, the inkjet and the laserjet printer. An inkjet printer sprays ink from the ink cartridge onto paper as it rolls by. This is what's going to be used in most homes, whereas most businesses, and we here at school, use a laserjet printer. The laser printer uses a laser beam that's reflected from a mirror to attract ink, called toner. You need to know that the ink for a laser printer is called toner. And that rolls the sheets of paper over a drum to put ink onto your paper to transfer your images, whether it be text or pictures. The way that a printer puts the ink onto the paper is by putting little dots on the page. The dots can be arranged to form any kind of character or text or line or pattern or photograph or anything else that we would want it to. The quality of the printer image is going to depend on the printer resolution. Printer resolution is determined by dots per inch. So how many little dots can go in that inch, or DPI, determines how much quality you will get out of your printer. So the higher the DPI, or dots per inch, more dots on the paper, the better your printer quality will be, and the better the print or image will be. It will be much clearer and much sharper. Now, when they say grayscale, when you print in grayscale, that just means that the printer is using blobs of black ink to mix in with the white paper to create a shade of gray. So something that may be color on your computer would just print as a gray shade on your printer. It saves money because ink costs a lot of money. It's quite expensive. And when you use color, that's more ink that you have to buy. Printers only use 4 different colors of ink to print every color. Those colors are black, cyan, which is a type of blue, it's a bluish color, magenta, which is like a pinkish color, and yellow. All those colors make up every other color, which include the reds, the oranges, the purples, blues, and the grays. That's mixing of the black and the white. Another type of output device is called a plotter. It's not one that we use here very often. except we do use a large format printer, which has come to replace the plotter. Now, the plotter is an output device that is a printer, and it was uses one or more pens, which can be raised and lowered and moved over the paper to draw lines, which produces a continuous line, whereas the printer, remember, only prints in little dots. So it simulates lines, but they're not actual lines. On a regular printer, on your desktop, DeskJet, and inkjet printers, they're not really lines. They just look like lines. But a plotter actually creates the lines. So they were used to create more technical documents like blueprints. But today, a large format printer is used more often, and it has a print head that contains more than 1,500 nozzles that spray ink in high density onto the paper to create very sharp lines and very bold color, which would be used to create the blueprints or posters. We have one over at the Madison County Career and Technical Center that they use for that type of printing that they use. A speech synthesizer is another kind of output device, which is a card that goes into the computer, and it's used to convert words into speech. And of course, we have to use a speaker, another type of output device, in order to hear the speech. It can be used to translate from one language to another, not necessarily just English to Spanish, but any language to another language. Or it can be used to type or to produce the sound of words that we type. Or if someone has a learning disability, it can synthesize and read the text to you so that it can be understood. Or if someone were blind, it could be used for that purpose as well. Now, notes. When you took your notes on the output device, you take notes and you limit what you write. You don't have to write every single little detail. Just write the important points or key points. Notice how I've separated out some words that I said you really need to know, like toner, what printing is, what printer resolution is, DPI, Grayscale, printing colors, okay? The large format printer. These are extra little notes that you should have put on your papers.